Welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night, 7:15 p.m. Central. You're listening to United Public Radio, 107.7 FM, New Orleans. And check out Beast Beyond Belief by Michael Winkle on Amazon. It's a good book about cryptids. And we got Jay here with us tonight. We got the return of Penny Bradley. Great to have you here again, Penny.
Good to be here.
Here's my kitty. She's a little brat.
Oh, the black kitty. Hello, kitty cat.
She's a little brat.
But I had to get Boris Badenov out. He was getting rowdy, so I put him out with the dog and the other cats.
Well, it's been an interesting week, and first off, there's been a lot of. We're not going to get into this for too long, maybe a little bit, but there was some Epstein emails released. And that's gotten to just very weird circus in itself that I'm coming across. And apparently between, I guess, Epstein and Mark, his brother, there was some banter about Trump having sexual relations with Bill Clinton. That was pretty weird, calling him Bubba and saying they have a tape and bringing up Putin. Very weird. I mean, of course, I wasn't there, thank God. So I don't know what happened, but, you know, I don't know. I mean, I've always heard that some of these groups make weird videos of them with children and keep it as blackmail. That's always been kind of the rumor with a lot of this stuff. So I don't rule anything out. But let me tell you, the memes are flowing about it. Oh, my gosh. Like, it's just...
that was all some of these people needed to get their creative juices flowing.
Mm-hmm. And all it probably is probably an email between Epstein and one of his buddies just bad-mouthing Trump behind his back, you know. So if there's evidence of it, you know, I'd be surprised. And even funnier, you know, we've talked about it on other shows on the network. If there was anything in those files that absolutely put Donald Trump in prison for life or even pedophilia, he'd be there right now. They've been trying to put him in jail for the last 12 years, and they haven't. So if there was any real evidence against him and pedophilia and any of that Epstein files, he'd be in jail right now, along with probably about a dozen Democrats, I think.
Well, I've seen complaints from people about events that supposedly happened when they were 12, 13 years old. I've heard complaints from young women who were at a beauty pageant where Trump just came walking into the dressing room. And these were girls 13, 14 years old. Now, I know in some parts of the world that's considered an adult, but in the United States, it's not.
Yeah, and there was one case where they were going to go to court, and she backed out of it, and I think maybe she was death threatened, which seems to be a popular thing that he likes to do. But I don't rule any of it out. I mean, part of me, I wouldn't surprise me at all. But
if it were one girl that backed out, I would think maybe she was making it up. But there's been a dozen of them that have backed out.
Yeah, a lot. And definitely something. He definitely ain't Saint Petunia in any of this. So, I mean, but
I've heard from people in New York City that dealt with him when he was being a real estate developer. And he has a long-standing reputation as being someone who doesn't pay his employees, that he files bankruptcy rather than pay them. And so there are a lot of people that have dealt with him personally in the past, and I know some of these people, and they considered him rude and disrespectful, and he got into a lot of trouble with the unions because he wasn't paying the contractors, and that meant they were unable to pay their employees.
You can see it in his attitude almost all, particularly during the NBC show, that The Apprentice and Celebrity Apprentice. They NBC, you know, they honed that image of him being the asshole, pardon my French, but they honed that for the public audience, and he had that reputation, and I think he is. I honestly think he is that way in as far as where business is concerned. Maybe not as far as
I think he's probably that way in his entire life.
Maybe so. I've never met the man.
Everything that he approaches. I mean, look at the way he treats Melania. He never walks holding her hand. He walks a full pace ahead of her, like she's nothing, he's everything.
Well, if you're tuning
and he just tore down the east wing of the White House, which was where the First Lady offices were.
Yes, but it wasn't a part of the original building. But he isn't the first. That particular side of the building is fairly new, and everybody but Obama redid that building at every chance they could. Every president did. He just happened to knock it down and put up something better or bigger.
And we gotta have those.
I'll go with different. I'm not saying it's better or worse, just different, and it won't be available to the First Lady for her business that is required of her, and she's not even an elected official.
No, but she's taking up offices over on his side of the building where his offices are, so I think she's okay.
Well, Jay will defend this man to his grave. He's like,
we watch this stuff all the time. I mean, he's not the first to change the building, and he's not going to be the last. Trust me. Someone else. I mean, Obama cut out one of the tennis courts and put in a basketball court. He cut out grass and put in concrete. No one said anything about that.
One thing I want to say is, if you're tuning in from Before It's News or any other place, I want to make clear my politics. I don't like either side. I don't like our government.
They both suck.
I think they suck. And ever since, the Native American things kind of turned me off against them. And the Tuskegee Airmen, so it's syphilis, who knows? They've done so much crap. I don't like them. I'm not on either side. I hate them. And another big reason why I am is because I've had UFO activity and seen weird beings at my house and been terrified to come out of my house. And I've had a military agency mockingly show up chasing these UFOs and one stop above the house and wave at me and not come to face, but shoot off kind of like mockingly. And who knows, the UFOs could have been their crap. I don't really know. But basically, I don't like our government because I have PTSD from these experiences. They don't care. We should all get together and have a class action lawsuit against them or something. But I just don't like them. They're liars. They're serial killers. And yes, they're pedophiles. Not all of them, but wouldn't surprise me if Trump blew Clinton in some weird Illuminati ritual at Moloch Grove or whatever they do. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. I don't have a time machine. I wasn't there. Thank God I wasn't there because I'd be traumatized. But first off, I hate them. I don't like any of them. They all suck. And Trump seems like he's just like a billionaire wanker. He's not helping anyone. The soybean stuff that just happened is putting farmers out of business. Like, he's doing weird stuff. It ain't America first. It's whoever kisses his ass first. And that's all it is.
I've heard it's the last person who has his ear tells him what to do. That they make an effort to be the last person who talks to him for that reason, because he basically, about half of what he says on social media is bogus. Yes, I was careful. But yeah, I come from those folks that actually do run the world. I'm related to those folks. And as far as I can tell, they decide elections 2 full cycles in advance. So they have chosen POTUS 8 years before they're elected. So if they're doing that, it seems to me that none of it matters. It's just, who are you going to deal with at the moment, and what nonsense are you going to have to survive that they decide to put through? And I have not seen a president I could personally respect in my lifetime.
Not even Reagan? He was fairly well respected across both party lines.
Saint Reagan was hated during his time. Absolutely hated, just as much as Trump is. He changed our economy just as much as Trump has. And in a lot of the same directions. He destroyed California public schools when he was governor, and he destroyed the national public schools when he was president.
They did mess up that.
He is why kids can't read today.
I also remember how stupid some of the things that they did. I disagree that I think he was a very popular president, although some of his policies may not have been. But in high school, I remember.
How old were you when he was president?
Program was there wasn't enough fruit in the children of America, so they started adding fruit to all the public school programs. That fruit came to our plates in the form of ketchup packets. So if you got pizza,
that was Reagan's idea.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. That was Nancy. It was Nancy
Reagan's
idea.
So much stuff was thrown away at school lunches. How old were you when he was president?
I voted for him in his first term in 1984, or was it his second one?
Second term.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're tuning in, Penny Bradley, we're going to be talking about altars, but first we're going to talk about this a little bit longer. We've had Eric Grimsrud on, who's a friend of mine from Oregon, and he believes that Trump is an antichrist. Now, it may not be the one. He's definitely, if you take Trump and break it down, and he has the charts, I have them.
He's got some compelling information. Yes, he does.
and to me, I don't think the Antichrist is like Lestat from Anne Rice, some European,
no.
Louis. It's Napoleonic. Like if you saw Joaquin Phoenix in Napoleon with Ridley Scott and all that, it's Napoleonic, and Trump is definitely Napoleonic as hell, quite literally.
He's definitely got a God syndrome. There's definitely no question about that.
I told Jeffrey something while we were talking in Messenger today. I'm going to give a little background so people understand why I have this information. I was raised by my parents to believe that we were poor white trash and that we were just flat Americans. And in 2005, when I was first coming online, I decided to do my family tree on Ancestry. And by 2010, I had made connections with Robert the Bruce and several other ancient royals. And about the time that I made 4 connections to Robert the Bruce, as in I am descended from all of his grandchildren separate lines. At that point, this nice young man who was then 18 and attending Yale, yeah, he was skull and bones, contacted me and said, "Penny, you're really smart, but you obviously went to public school. Would you like to learn what you missed?" And he tutored me for 15 years. He didn't sit and tutor me. He would give me a book list. And like they do in universities, you had to find the books. I was blessed that I found almost every one of them as free downloaded PDFs, because some of these books are $700, $800 a piece, if you can find them. And when I'd get through the reading list, he would give me another one. And this completely changed my view of reality. It's really hard to explain to people what I know in a way where I can say, well, it's here and here and here, because it's scattered over 800 books. But the bottom line is, at some point, he decided that I was educated, that I had been trained long enough, and we became friends instead of him being my tutor. So when Trump was elected this time, he was cussing about it, and I said, "What's the matter? I mean, you guys picked these guys 8 years in advance. Why are you mad?" He said, "Because we did this meeting, and Trump took a knee and a blood oath, kissed a ring even, that he would play the role of the beast in our Armageddon play." And when you see what he's doing from that perspective, it's frightening. The fact that ICE doesn't have to wear uniforms. They don't have to declare who they are. They can just pick up somebody off the street, and you don't have any way to resist. They don't even let you take your ID out of your pocket. They don't honor green cards. They don't honor passports. I found an article today about a Native American that was being turned over to ICE to be deported. Where are you going to deport a Native American to?
I saw that. It was crazy.
Where are you going to deport a Native American to? Seriously.
They were going to send her to like Venezuela or wherever they go, Alligator Alley, probably. They probably already have done it to people.
They already shut down Alligator Alley because it was illegal. They're sending American citizens to El Salvador with no hope of ever coming back. All I have ever asked is due process. Prove these people are who you say they are before you send them. Wear something that identifies you as police, at least. You don't have to say that you're ICE, but you have to identify yourself as law enforcement. Otherwise, you're just a terrorist group. Due process matters. We have habeas corpus for reasons. And all y'all that think that the Constitution doesn't apply to illegals, I'm sorry. All of the amendments I read say person. They do not say citizen. And if you don't know that, you need to go back and read them again and again and again and again until it sinks in. We have the presumption that you're innocent until you're proven guilty in a court of law. And that's being undermined. You've got people in boats that you don't know who the blank these people are, and the boats are being shot out of the water, and there are survivors making it back to shore, and they're just fishermen. There's no due process. Trump can't even name the people that he's hitting. At least when Obama hit them, he knew their names. He knew he was hitting American citizens as sanctions. And no, he didn't have a court order for it either. They weren't guilty of anything. Yeah, maybe the dad was, but the kids sure weren't. I have watched this country go to hell in a handcart this entire century. I'm 70 years old. I've done a lot of watching. Meanwhile, I'm being trained on by the people that actually run the place. No, your elections don't matter. What does matter is public opinion. If you think it's okay to do these things to people, I don't know what to do with you.
And who was the organization of the ring that he was kissing? Well, I mean, who was that when he was doing this? The play or whatever. Whose ring was he kissing?
I'm not allowed to tell that name, but it's a position that y'all know as Pindar.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to look that up. I've heard that word before, but I'd have to look it up and research
the only one that I knew for sure who he was Pepe Orsini, and he has since died. I do not know who the new one is. They are usually an Orsini. Y'all know them as the black nobility.
And so this play.
Do you know who the black nobility are? They are the ancient Etruscan nobility that were in charge when Rome was a baby city. When Rome was only on one hill, they were still in charge. Same people, same families. But they have intermarried with the Merovingian descendants, so now they are all one big happy family, no more than fourth cousins apart. And because my family was separated from them in the early 1800s, I'm a seventh cousin. So I have no titles, no money, no power. But at this point, I have at least been taught how they approach things. So I know what they think. And we're going into a time frame where the goal is the United States is going to be shut down as we know it, and the Constitution will be taken out, and there will be a new Constitution, and the title of it should give you a clue: the Islamic States of North America. That's what the plan is.
I know they just said there was some terrorist meeting with Trump at the White House. And also, I know when you said there's the play, did you mean like a play that they're putting on for everybody? Or you mean the play of like America, like that was going to be his role? Like a lot of times they say that there are groups that are here to bring on the apocalypse, like Nick Redfern's Final Events with that group that thought UFOs are all demonic and basically final events and stuff like that. But his part was going to be the Beast of Apocalypse, or was that like a play, like a Shakespeare at the Ren Fest?
It's a plan of how they are going to reorganize the planet. Let me see if I can find where I stashed this.
Well, I've had friends that are right wing say that they think he's going to start, cleansing and putting people in camps and stuff. And wouldn't surprise me if he did that. But I mean, start going after the opposition on that level. And that's people that used to support him and now are kind of sick of him. But it wouldn't surprise me if he would love to do that. It's just getting away with it.
I'd be shocked if he did that, but he's going to have to get through my guns to get through to me. That ain't going to happen on my watch. So if he does try that, he's going to have a lot of opposition. I guarantee. Even his MAGA people will go against him if he tries to take over. Yeah. If he starts
MAGA is already angry. MAGA is already angry. Okay, I found the.
At him, or you mean in general, or both?
In general. MAGA is already angry. I'm going to share this with you. This is from the Club of... Whoops. Wrong button.
Yeah, they changed the button, so you have to hit...
Yeah, they changed things around.
Yeah, I still get confused which one
you want to allow me to... there it is.
The one with the plus sign in it will allow you to add it, change the screen.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah, this is from the Club of Rome, and the group was organized in 1968. This particular map, this particular map was from, try it again. This particular map was from 1976. And this is what they, Okay, share screen again because I blew it. Okay.
There it is.
There it is. So, Area 1 is why Trump keeps talking about making Canada the 51st state and why he's talking about bringing in Greenland.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason that he's doing this. The Armageddon play is about reorganizing the planet into this kind of a structure. And you'll notice that Zone 7 here.
Northern Africa.
It's not just Northern Africa. It starts
Northern Africa, the Middle East. Yeah, it's all Northern Africa.
It starts at the river at the beginning of India and goes to the Atlantic Ocean. And it puts a certain saying of from the river to the sea in a new light. And since it's referring to those people we're not allowed to talk about, I thought I would just show what's
interesting. I mean, he's trying to do Greenland. I mean, that's evidence that there's truth to this. I mean, it's basically showing what he's trying to do.
The Club of Rome, the Committee of 300, those are both names that have floated around conspiracy groups forever. Okay?
Crazy.
Klaus Schwab, former head of the World Economic Forum, grew up in the Club of Rome. Their goal is a world population of under 1 billion human beings, which would mean 7 out of 8 of us will be dead. And this is the way they want the world set up after that.
What do you think they're going to do to depopulate?
They don't want to repopulate.
I mean, depopulate. Do you think they're going to start trying to like cleanse us and stuff? I think I saw you say something about that.
What did you think that COVID was?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Amen.
What do you think happened in Maui and Los Angeles and North Carolina? What do you think is happening in Florida and Georgia? And what happened in New Orleans with Hurricane Katrina? What's happening with these wars all over the world? I mean, we have wars in Sudan, we have wars in the Middle East. Basically, the whole stripe there that's purple and pink is at war with somebody all the time. At least half of those countries are at war all the time. Why? Because they have really high birth rates. What else did they do? They put human pregnancy hormones into vaccines so that the girls who took them would be sterile because they'd be allergic to human pregnancy hormone. What else did they do? They put food in plastics that give off fake estrogens that turn little boys into in between. They're doing a lot of things. Most of the Northern Hemisphere is now sterile. We have below replacement birth rates, and that's why the people from the Southern Hemisphere who are not suffering that yet are moving to the North. That's their motivation for it. Now, the people that are running the show are doing it because they want to get rid of the folks who are in between the two groups. Okay, you have the worker class and you have the elite class. Who do you have in between? You have the middle class, the folks who can go to college and understand what they're studying, the folks who don't have the money to invest in and create a huge business, but they might have the intelligence if somebody backed them, yeah. The middle class are hybrids between the elites and the working class. And we are the biggest threat to their power. So, end the share.
That's definitely something to that for sure. And so tell us what are alters?
Okay. When you go from the elites who were de facto prisoners of the gods, the Anunnaki, they were left in charge of the working class. And over time, they interbred, and that's where the middle class came from. So the goal is to get rid of the middle class. Now, because the elites were basically prisoners, they were subjected to mind fracture. And the Anunnaki started this thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. The satanic ritual groups, and there's probably 400 of them, and I'm not going to waste time listing their names, but I know for a fact that the program I was in, they got their ability to mind fracture from Project Paperclip scientists who had been Nazis, who learned it from the Tavistock Institute in England, who had members who were also members of Mothers of Darkness in Belgium. And they have now moved to that castle in Germany that has the solar knot in the floor. Oh, yeah. That's where the procedure that was done to me came from. So, yeah, there's background for it, all of it. So, the story goes that in 1952, that President Eisenhower was slapped upside the head by the Germans who had won World War II in Antarctica, because Truman had flat refused to sign the treaty. So Eisenhower was basically forced to sign it. And then he told the CIA, do whatever it takes to make sure some of us survive this. And that's where my program came from. I was born in 1955. While my mother was still pregnant with me, they injected me with something that added 2 specific bits of DNA into mine that allowed me to have the abilities they needed. So no, I'm not a normal human. And yes, you're safe around me. I don't go around bothering people. So one of the things they needed was they needed deniability. Okay, if you're going to kidnap a bunch of little kids and you're going to train them to do things in Black Ops, and you've promised their parents you're going to bring them back, because yes, my father gave permission for this to happen to me. I don't think he actually knew what was going to happen, but he still gave permission under national security that, yeah, they could take his kid. And so I was 4 years old when they came and got me. There was a couple of humans, Americans, in green fatigues, in a Korean War era Jeep, and they picked up 4 of us and drove us cross country from Central California to Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. And I was a guest of Langley Air Force Base for the next 5 years, except for a side trip to Montauk, which is its own story. Alters are created by torture so bad that the child has to choose if they're going to live or die. Most of them die. I'll be honest, we had a 2% survival rate from 1959 to 1964. We only had 2% of our people survive. So how do they do this? They find a torture that makes the child have to choose if they're going to live or die. And if they choose to live, they create a bubble around the memory of the torture. And they don't share memory with it, because the whole point is to not remember that torture. Now, depending on how much energy they put into that bubble, how strong the alter is going to be later on. Because eventually that bubble forgets it's a bubble and thinks it's the whole person. So they take the goal in my era was to create a 13 by 13 by 13 cubic hierarchical array of altars. It comes out to just under 2,200. They did this in each child who survived. Each of the 13 by 13 each of them has its own set of 13 altars with similar training, because they'll train it and then split it and train it and split it and train it and split it. So they have core abilities that the whole strand will have. Now, why do they separate them? For deniability. And because they sell altars to other agencies, along with a skin sample. It's a sample of your DNA cells so that they can create a clone to insert your altar into. And yes, they do. And yes, I've been awake during this process. And no, it's not fun.
Shut up. And that's considered my labs, right? I mean, all of this?
This is beyond what most my labs have, and this is beyond what MK Ultra did. This is hardcore, and they use the same type of techniques that satanic ritual abuse does, except they don't add demons to the mix, where satanic ritual abuse does. That's the only real difference between them. So I have 2,200 altars, basically, and I have reintegrated 45 of them at this point in time. And each one adds more details to what I already remembered. Sometimes they change the whole slant of things, though. So if you've got a person who's only remembering from one altar, they're going to have basics, and they're going to have a lot of information that they don't know what it really means, and they're filtering it through their main person. So that's why you end up with a lot of people who think that the Germans in space are still Nazis. They're not. That's why you get a lot of people who think, oh, these evil ETs, because they don't have any of the other memories that balance the picture. I've reintegrated 45 altars, and I think 10 of them have been not space related. There are a couple of them that are CIA related that I will not talk about, point blank, because that will get me killed. And so that's off the table. I'm only public about the space related BlackOps.
So I know you said that in space they're regular Germans, but the Nazis, if they won, are they still in power on some level? Are they still around on some level? The evil Nazis?
They weren't allowed to go. The Germans in Antarctica were the aristocracy. They were not the Nazis. They were the scientists, the doctors, the people, the people who knew what they were doing and had the technology. What most Americans are completely ignorant of, because our government doesn't allow it to be spoken here. Hitler was put in power by the aristocracy, but he slowly replaced them all with Jesuits. At the end of the war, all of his support people were Jesuits, and that was why the Pope never excommunicated him, was because he filled the place with Jesuits. Yeah. When the aristocracy saw this happening, they knew they were going to lose the war, so they took their technology with them to Antarctica. And when Hitler showed up at the door, knock, 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 they said, 9. You do know he lived and died in Argentina, right?
Yeah, he died in Argentina in like I think 1978.
Yeah, he died in Argentina, and the U.S. government was paying him a stipend and took care of him. And that's in the CIA documents. That's not something I pulled out of memory. Although one of my alters had been sent to Argentina to kill him, and she came back and told him no, that he was a sick old man dying in his bed, bitter from mistakes he'd made and angry that he had destroyed his people. And she says he deserves that. And I think she's right. That's the way he should have had to die. Sick and miserable. But he was not allowed on Mars. He was not allowed into space. He was not allowed to stay in Antarctica. He was sent to Argentina. And his crew were sent there too. They didn't want anything to do with those people. Now, the treaty that they had with the United States said that the Americans had to have a German on the board of directors of every corporation in our country. And that's why you get a lot of the things that you do. The Germans in space won the war. They said, you do what we say and we'll let you pretend that you won, because you did beat the country, but you didn't beat us. And they have been in charge through the director of the Trilateral Commission since 1947. Period. That's the way it is. And Nelson Rockefeller was the head of the Trilateral Commission until David Rockefeller took it. And now there's somebody else in charge, and I'm not sure who he is. But that person is the liaison between the Germans in space and the government of the United States.
I saw it just a minute ago. While you were talking, I was looking through the Bibliotheca Pleiades because I had never heard of the Club of Rome. I was looking that up. I found, where is it? This might be it. Here it is. So as far as who might have taken over, they give a list of names, and these are the names who would have probably taken over from what's his name, Rockefeller. So we got Rothschild, Astor, Bundy, Collins.
People. Huh? All of these are real people.
I know, yeah. These are the names that are for the Illuminati bloodlines. So I would think Rockefeller's on here. So they got Rothschild, Astor, Bundy, Collins, DuPont, Freeman, Kennedy, Lee, Onassis, Rockefeller, Disney, Russell, Van Duyn, Merovingian, and Reynolds.
Merovingian is a group. It's not a single family. You should know that.
Well, this is on biblical. This just says Merovingian, which I think is also a French bloodline.
It's not a name though. It's a whole bunch of people. There are
they're on here. If you're Merovingian,
probably
you're part of their bloodline.
40 million people who are descended from the Merovingian bloodline that are alive today. And those are the people being targeted for the space Black Ops. So if you're not related to a Merovingian and you're not related to someone who does serious witchcraft, then you're probably not going to be targeted.
I don't know if I can make it any bigger. Oh, yes, I can. There we go. I don't know if that's any better to see. But this is off of Bibliotheca Pleiades. It's the Novus Mundi, Novus Ordo, the New World Order. And those are some of the things that are just, and I just started looking. I had seen this page before, but this is one of the things that I just found while I was listening to your stories. I mean, I didn't know it was a group. I thought it was just a group of French kings. But I guess whatever families are members of the Merovingian, if you're part of that, I guess you're in with Flint.
No, you're not in with Flint. It means you're targeted.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you have any power. It doesn't make you have any money. It doesn't make you, important. Most of us are dirt poor.
Yeah. So, I'm feeling that right now, so I definitely know what that means.
Yeah, but yeah, Homeland Security, all of these, those are all relevant names. Club of Rome is right there with the Bilderbergers. And most of these groups that you pulled up are what's called Malthusians, and they believe that there are too many humans here, that that we are destroying the earth, eating ourselves out of house and home, and that the only way to save the planet is to bring our population down below 1 billion. And they plan on killing the rest of us.
Yeah, I think their plan is to call 5/8 to 7/8 of the planet's population, something on that order.
Their goal is 7/8 of the planet's population, and for half of the survivors to be Chinese.
Like the Georgia Guidestones, and that just got blown. But
Georgia Guidestone said to keep the population under 500,000. Though I think they're talking more like a population of no more than a million.
Well, that's ridiculous. Yeah.
I know earlier we were talking about aliens and things like that. I've had some alien encounters where I've seen actual beings, and I've wondered, they could be real, but I've also wondered if they're, fake and being faked somehow, something messing with me, governmental or something like that. Because there was a time on a Halloween night where we were partying and there was some psychedelics and stuff, and I saw some reptilian beings. And
we just lost the Facebook feed.
Who knows? It happens, but as far as the reptilians that I saw, I think they did something to my DNA, whatever happened, and who knows? I could have put something in my mind to make me see that, and then did something else to me. I don't know, but I felt like they did something to me. I saw beings that were very strange and reptilian, and they were not physical. They were like holograms, and one was very humanoid that almost looked like it had Medusa snake hair, which I don't think they were really snakes, but it had some kind of weird hair going on. And then there was a Hydra-like creature with many heads. And at first I was freaked out, and I thought it was Satan and fallen angels, and maybe it was. I don't know, but that was my first thought because I'm from Georgia and my dad was a preacher. So I was like, oh, my God, I'm seeing Satan.
Well, I was raised Church of Christ, Andy.
And they started
saying what that is.
And they started saying, I love you, and saying positive things to me. So that was kind of weird. But that was a weird night. And I've wondered, about things planted in you. I've had Robert Duncan on before. You may have heard of him.
I knew him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't like me, but that's all right. I appreciated his work anyway.
he blocked me, so I'm pretty sure he blocked me.
He unfriended me and said some nasty things about SSP folk.
Yeah, he seems like a dick.
And I don't know if did we point it out on the show, or we only talked about it before the show, but if you look behind Jeffrey, there is a demon trying to bash in through his window there to get to him.
Yeah. It's actually Dracula from Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. He's here tonight, and he's going to talk Gary Oldman. But it's actually, if you look at my shelf, it's a Cthulhu with wings, and from H.P. Lovecraft. That's the head. I don't know why there's a body. I guess that's the shell.
It's just the way the shadow is falling. It looks like someone's trying to bash in the window, or like, I mean, it's just creepy. Like someone's like, "Ooh, what are you doing in there?" You know?
Yeah. Dr. Duncan was murdered.
He's dead?
Yeah, about a little over a year ago, he was murdered to prevent him from publishing his third book.
Wow.
So
I didn't know he was dead. Wow.
He was autistic on the spectrum, and he had a really hard time with compassion. And anybody that actually knew him, it was just obvious. And whoever it was convinced him that he was going to hell for doing his Project Satan. That person deserves some sort of an award, because he is why Dr. Duncan went public as a whistleblower, because he convinced him that he was going to go to hell. And so he decided to repent. And when he repented, he went completely the other direction. He was still very proud of his work, though. And he was still working on AI on computers, but he wasn't working on the mind control tech anymore.
We had a weird incident on the show. So was it last year? We had a guest who was coming on who just finished writing a book on the afterlife, and the morning of our show that he was going to talk about his book, he went to it. So it was really weird.
Jim Willis.
Yeah, Jim Willis.
Yeah, he did a afterlife book, but he died from a heart attack. But unfortunately, it was right before the show, not on the show, so I didn't really know him. But it was still sad and weird.
Well, a lot of things are happening because we're being shot with dew, and doctors don't believe you were shot unless you have a big gaping hole in your chest or something. I freaked mine out. You can't see it on here. The camera isn't good enough anyway. But I was shot with a dew at a conference, not this last summer, the summer before, and I could feel the energy wave hitting the metal in my neck. I've had a spinal fusion, so it was hitting that. So I put my arm up like this to block the wave, and I ended up with a burn from about here all the way down to my wrist. And after 3 months, it had not healed yet. And I went in and saw my doctor, and she turned green. How'd you get this? I got shot. She goes, with what? And I said, the official name is a directed energy weapon. And yes, the police use them now. So you can find it online. She says, I've never seen a burn that it was literally turning my skin to soap.
Yeah. We had a friend of mine, Jerry Avalos. He got attacked by one in his lab, and it was really weird. Like he got really hurt, and it just came out of nowhere. There, and it just blew him up.
They're nasty as crap. But yeah, you wanted to hear about altars. Okay, I did a presentation this last summer about altars, and I'm still working on because they focused in on me. They didn't show any of the slides, so I'm having to figure out how to get the slides coordinated with the sound and do a split screen. Yeah, fun stuff, right? But yeah, as soon as I figure out how to do that, I will have 2 of them to do, because that conference just gave you the headshot of the person on the recording. So, but yeah, I talked about what they are from a psychological point of view. And I talked about what they are about, why they're used, and we've talked about those. Now, the other thing you need to know is that the people like me who have them, for me, when it's an altar, I have no memory of it whatsoever. It's completely, totally missing time. It's someone else is taking over my body, running my mouth, running my actions. I have no idea what they said. I had a problem a few years back while I was reintegrating. I had a radio show like you all have on Global Enlightenment Radio Network, and I was shifting altars about every 3 minutes, and I had no idea what I was talking about. Penny, no, I would have to watch my own video to know what I said. And fortunately, they would do decent things. I didn't have any of them get nasty on air. I have one that sometimes gets nasty with my partner, Lou. And so we have this protocol that when I get up, whatever time I get up, when I am back and I am aware that I'm back, I say, good morning. Even if it's 7 p.m.
Yeah. It's like Frosty the Snowman. Whenever he comes back, he always says happy birthday. That's how he says
exactly.
Hello. Yeah.
It's the same idea. And I do this with him so that he knows that I'm back, and whatever he's experienced from me for the last few hours was her. Now,
it's interesting. I have a show I've been watching on Apple. It's from the guy that did Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Is it Vance Gilligan or whatever? Probably saying his name. But anyway, it's really good, and it just started. And it's not. I wouldn't say it's altered, but there's some similarities in it that's really weird. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. But basically, to summarize it, if I can do it, it's so weird that it's hard to even put into words how weird the show is. Basically, it starts out where there's some kind of space anomaly happens, sending code to the Earth, and it kind of reminded me of the Atlas stuff that's going around, sort of. But anyway, everybody starts freaking out, and they're in this like military lab installation, and somehow some kind of virus gets loose, and the lady puts it, maybe like COVID, and the lady puts it on her, like in her mouth, and she starts licking donuts, and now everybody's distributing it to each other until everyone's affected. And then kind of like a zombie apocalypse sort of happens. That's a lot weirder, not as violent, but still kind of weird. And anyway, here's where it gets really weird. And basically, everybody on Earth becomes a collective, like almost like a hive mind. And everybody's like one hive mind consciousness. And when they talk, they're talking for the collective, but they can also switch between the personalities they used to be. And there are survivors who did not get affected to become the hive mind, so they're still like they used to be. And the lady from Breaking Bad, Kim, that was her name on the show, but she has blonde hair. She's sitting in her house after someone she knows passes away, and there's a guy on TV at the president's podium, and he calls her, and he talks to her through the TV as if she's the only person he's talking to, and everybody, I guess, who's watching in the collective sees him. But he goes, this was the only body that was available. He's from the Department of Agriculture. The president's dead. And he starts talking to her, and basically they're saying that we're going to assimilate you. It's kind of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but it gets really freaking weird. And I'm not going to say it's alters, but there's some weird, like, is the government using this show for something kind of?
Alters wouldn't be that, because they're not, you can't put one altar in multiple people.
Not a collective. Yeah, it's
not a collective. Now, I do have friends that I've interviewed, and I'm not going to name them because people go weird when I refer to these people. Okay, I have one friend who was not working on reintegration, but he would have his altars talk to him. He knew their names, He knew everything about them, and they would talk to him, and he would be on my show and talking about this, this altar and that altar and the other altar. Now, in his real world life, he was smoking pot like a lot of people do. And he would shift altars, and the altar would take over. And he was married with little kids. And his altar would drive hundreds of miles to Las Vegas. And he explained it to me that there were like 300 women in this book that he had, and that his altar had apparently had sex with all of them. And there was this woman that he knew from the programs that they had a baby together, and this altar of his just completely destroyed his life. And he's no longer public. And it's been weird to watch that, because my altars, I have one that occasionally talks to me and tells me I'm a wuss. Yeah, she was a German officer. And she tells me I'm a wuss because my policy is, if somebody's being an ass to me, I will just leave the field,
that's what I do.
not deal with them at all. It's like, you want to act like that, fine, act like that by yourself. I'm not life's too short to spend what I have left of it fighting with somebody that just wants to fight.
Yeah.
But
I totally agree with that.
Say you're a puss toot. You're a puss toot.
Yeah, so
RNA.
that's what she calls me. She says that I'm a wuss, but she does realize that in this culture here on Earth, that's a far better way of responding. Now, I have another person who's been on my show a lot, that he started having altars pop up. When the altar is put into a clone body and sent off to do something, when that clone body dies, the consciousness pops back into the original body it was born in. This is how they work. So he's had altars suddenly pop into him, things he didn't know about. And they'll come in and they have different accents, and they've done all sorts of different things. And people make fun of him because he's from the Midwest, and he lives on the West Coast, and he'll pop up with some sort of a other English accent, not necessarily from England, but from somewhere else that speaks English but has a different accent. And this altar will pop up. And with each of these altars, he gets memories, vivid memories. And some of them are there's no other word but satanic. And he wants to talk about them on my show. And there are times that we talk 3 or 4 times before we do a recording. And the whole time I'm asking him, are you sure you want to do this public? Are you sure you want to do this public? Are you sure you don't want to do this public? Because they are so graphic and so horrible. But because he's doing full disclosure, that's his personal ethic, is to tell it all, even if it makes him look bad. He's got people in our community that just hate him. And I'm heartsick listening to what he's remembering, because I know he's really dealing with these memories. And trying to explain this to somebody who has full, complete memory of their whole life. I only remember half my childhood because they kept taking me. They'd take me, turn on another altar, I'd come back, and I have no idea. I have no positive memories of my childhood. When I was 12, my father, who authorized me being taken, wanted to abandon me to foster care. Mama said no, so they went through the next till I graduated high school fighting all the time about me because Dad thought I was too psychic, too angry, too smart. This was in the 60s and 70s. Females were not supposed to be smart. They were not supposed to be angry. They were not supposed to be able to do the things I did. I was 6 years old. I took his 30-06 apart, cleaned it, and put it back together. How many 6-year-olds do you know can do that, boy or girl?
Not many, not without, watching, training, being taught how to do it.
I wasn't taught how to do it. It was go away. This is my stuff. Don't touch my gun.
My brother did something like that with I don't know, he was 8, I think. We got those little video games, and I think he got I got basketball and he got football. And I wasn't a basketball fan, so I didn't really like my video game, but I played it. And I saw him, he played with his for like an hour. Then he took a little screwdriver, turned it over, went, took it apart into some different components, and he even disconnected the wires and everything, and then went, put it back together, turned it on, and it worked. I tried to do it with mine. I was like, nope, there's no way. If I had done it, it would have never, ever, ever worked.
Well, I was weapons trained in these programs. A lot of weapons that are just now coming public, I was trained on. My first altar that was activated, 2013, a NSA agent who worked at the place in Maryland. I can't think of the name.
Aberdeen?
No, it was the NSA base. Their headquarters in Maryland. But he worked there. He was an American, okay? But he worked as a Russian translator. And he used my Remember code from back when I was at Langley and activated the memories of that first altar that was broken off. And she's the one that calls me a wuss.
Fort Meade.
Fort Meade, yes, that one. He was on the Russian desk. His boss was also on the Russian desk. The two of them made sure that I was activated, that I remembered that altar's memories. They did not help because those memories were in German. Actually, they were in Schwabish, which is a German dialect. And they weren't on Earth. But the two guys made sure that I knew how to be a dissident without being arrested. It's a matter of you know exactly what the laws are and you stay right up to the edge and not over. And there's a lot of things that conservatives do that they go, pump, they jump right over that edge. So a lot of them are doing things that they could go to prison for. And then you've got people on the left that are doing the same thing from the other direction. There are laws. If someone is in elected office or ever has been, and you call for any harm to come to them, that's a Class C felony. You can go to jail for that. So if you're sitting there cussing about President Trump, wanting bad things to happen to him, and you talk about it where people can record it, you can go to jail for that. If you're talking about President Obama, and they include the family, so if you're bad-mouthing Michelle, you can go to jail for that. If you're bad-mouthing Mrs. Carter, you can go to jail for that. Anybody who has been president, a cabinet level official, the heads in Congress and the Senate, they're all protected forever. And that's something most of y'all don't know. And that was one of the main things that these guys got through my head was that's a Class C felony, and it applies to not just them, but their wife and their kids. So you have to be very, very careful what you actually say about these folks.
You have to be careful about what you say in our chat room because we'll boot you. Someone was saying something kind of not too friendly, so he said bye-bye.
No, I thought it was a timeout, so he kept asking for a female spirit guide over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So I just put him on a timeout, but it said it banned him, so I don't know who it is. But anyway,
there are folks in this world who are bizarre on a good day.
Yes, and did Donnie below Bobo? But anyway, I was going to say, when it comes to what do you think about the Comet Atlas stuff? Do you think it's a lot of Heaven's Gate Hoonanny, or is there something creepy to it? I mean, it seems like there's something creepy to it, but I'm also like, I know about Heaven's Gate. This can get a little out of hand.
It just broke up. I don't know if you heard the latest. It's broken. Yeah, it's breaking up.
I'm just curious what her circles, what she thinks it may be, or what do you think?
I have no personal data about it at all. I have absolutely no personal data about it at all. I did hear from several friends who have telepathic contact with ETs, who thought that it was an ET ship and that the whole galaxy was watching how we were going to react to it. Well, if so, they felt the fear because there was so much fear porn put out about that ship or comet or whatever it is. So much fear porn put out that if it was really live beings, they would have felt the fear. Now, I hope it wasn't live beings because it's blown up.
Broke apart, yes.
So,
but I think some of the confusion is because it seems that it's more of a comet and an unusual one at that. All the comets in our solar system come in above the ecliptic and come in at a steep angle or an obtuse angle. This thing came in at the ecliptic on the same plane as all of the planets, and we didn't see it until it was already inside the Oort cloud. So it seemed like it was like aimed directly at that space. So that gives way to, maybe it must be an intelligent thing was sent, directly towards the inner planets, because most things that come near our solar system, when they get near the Oort cloud, they're going to be more attracted to Jupiter from that distance than they would be from, say, Mars or Earth. And it went to Mars. So it seemed like it was directed there. But it has exhibited all kinds of things that comets don't exhibit. Our fastest, not our fastest, but our most famous comet, Halley's, moves at this closest approach to the sun. It's 22,000 miles an hour, I believe. This thing was coming into the solar system at 152,000 miles an hour, slowed down, then went back up, slowed down to 138, then back up to 152. Then as it passed around Mars, after we got back sight of it again, it reaccelerated again without gassing, but without losing mass, which gave scientists the impression that it was accelerating due to mechanical outgassing rather than losing mass. So if it were to be a comet, if it has gas inside the ice and it outgasses it, it's going to slowly get smaller and smaller as the gas leaves the comet. It wasn't exhibiting any of this behavior.
There are propulsion methods that don't lose mass.
Yes, I know exactly, but this is why people were so confused about it, because it was outgassing several places. It had an anti-tail, which means a tail in front rather than opposite the sun, and it just wasn't looking correct. And it went from not glowing to glowing white to glowing green, and then it went to red, and then it went back to white. And then when it came around Mars, it was blue. So it has done all kinds of things that no comet we've ever seen has ever done.
And in the meantime, there were some outrageous solar flares that could have affected the color, could have affected the outgassing, could have affected how we perceive it, because change things in between.
And it came from another solar system, at least outside of our solar system for sure. So it is more than likely comprised of materials we don't know about. So it may react differently to our sun.
Most of the comets, etc., that hit our region of space are from the Oort cloud. There's the theory that I subscribe to, that the Oort cloud is actually an ancient Dyson sphere that's starting to come apart.
I've heard it was all mostly ice, but our friend is back. Good Lord, dude. Do you not get it?
I don't mind someone being in the chat room, but why do you got to keep saying the same thing over and over? Weird.
Yeah, really.
But anyway, someone's got that Merc Retro. Didn't you say you were born in Mercury Retro? Are you Virgo?
I was born in Mercury Retro, and I'm a Libra.
Okay.
Oh God.
I was born on a full moon.
No, because I'm a Libra too, and I was born in '66, October 9th. Am I in Mercury retrograde too?
You have to look at what it was the day you were actually born. It's not
Sunday.
It varies year to year. But I was born on a full moon during Mercury retro, and it was during a Jewish holiday, the 5th day of the Feast of Booths.
I know you had mentioned Montauk. Well, what can you tell us about there? I know you always hear the story about some kind of portal and creature coming through. Was it really that weird there? Was it a torture place? I mean, is that pretty much what it was?
I was there fall of '61 to spring of '62. So I was there before Project Phoenix. And when I was there, they were testing the butterfly effect. We had a chair, but we were using a time tunnel. So they had me aimed at a general store in the 1980s, and it was in the Western United States, probably in a territory for that date. And I was supposed to go and steal an apple off the porch and bring it back. They wanted to see what kind of changes would be made from small things. Now, what these studies found was there are key individuals that matter in history, and that everybody else is filler. Yes, they affect the key individuals, but they themselves, you can take them out, put them back, whatever, and they don't affect things. There are key individuals that do. You mess with those individuals and you really change history. So, yeah, you do have to be a bit careful going back in time. The farther back in time you go, the more careful you have to be, because you don't know who the key individuals are.
What do you think, Penny, about, this is just recent, the White House actually announced that they have access to time travel technology.
I thought it was about time they admitted it. I've been saying since 2016 that if you have a hyperspace drive, you have time travel.
Yeah.
Because the hyperspace drive literally takes you outside of time and space. You're going between dimensions. When you come back into our time and space, you can pick any coordinates you want, forward, backward. It's time travel as well as space travel. And
there's an alleged rumor story that they have a video of an actual video, like modern optics and recording technology of the Kennedy assassination, that they went back in time to record from a vantage point that wasn't possible. And they say that they show this video to every president they want to keep in check.
What was his name? Bill. There was a comic in the 80s that talked about that. Bill something.
George Carlin or
No, it was the Bill.
Not Cosby.
No, just a minute. I'm gonna look it up.
It was Bill Cosby.
No.
Bill Cosby's not that smart.
We saw
He's
Fat
funny.
Albert.
Bill Cosby was funny.
Fat
Wrong,
Albert
but he's not as smart as
if
like
you
a George
watch
Carlin.
If you watch Fat Albert the cartoon now, it's a lot more creepier.
No, he did
Bill
most of the voices too.
Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks.
He's the one that he had a whole routine about it. There's even a cartoon about it that there's a recording from the grassy knoll.
Heard of it.
Yeah.
Some people say
I remember his face.
Some people say he's Alex Jones. I don't agree with that probably.
I don't agree with that. The ears and nose are different. I don't agree that Joe Biden was president. I think that there was a actor named Struan Roger who played the role of Biden the whole time he was president. Because if you look at the photographs of Biden before the election and the photographs afterwards, the ones afterwards match Struan instead of Joe. I think we had 4 years of an absolute fake. I don't think he was a clone. I think they paid an actor. And if he was a fake, probably Jill was as well.
They had on Fox News once, not that I watched Fox News, but I saw like it on Microsoft or something, but there's a guy in a gas station that looked just like freaking Trump, like just like him. And they did a little segment on this dude. They probably hoisted him up as a clone or whatever to keep if something goes wrong, if he's not already in there. Because Trump now looks kind of strokish, like something's happened compared to the way he used to look with the patches on his hands. And
he's had too many jobs.
Oh my gosh. But yeah,
he's had too many jabs. He went on air getting his jabs, so
I believe it. And definitely well, what's the weirdest thing that's going on lately with everything just seems weird as hell anyway, but is there something that you want to share with us, that some of the weirdest stuff you've come across?
The former director of ALSOP came forward with George Knapp and the guy he works with, can't think of his name. He came forward saying that America has a captured ship, UAP, and that it is completely alien, and that it took them over a decade just to get the door open. And they got in there and there's nothing. They have no idea how it ran, how it was controlled, what was in it. It's just an empty shell. But they know it came through space. They have no idea how it operates.
You ever get into any of the stuff about Skinwalker Ranch and Bigelow? I know they have that show, and it's some of the weirdest stuff I've seen on TV with a TV show like that they basically have so many spooks on that show that it's more creepier than the phenomenon. Like they have Bigelow former security. They have like the state attorney of Utah. They have like former CIA. They have Colonel John Alexander. Like the weirdest stuff ever.
Colonel John Alexander has been accused of being who ran Montauk.
Really? It wouldn't surprise me. I know he hangs around Chris Bledsoe. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he has a book, UFO God, and they keep bringing him on there summoning UFOs with the Monroe Institute and all this craziness. And then, like he does that.
Monroe Institute was used in programming alters. And it was used in a lot of the people that were in the GATE program in the 80s and 90s.
Definitely seems like some spookery, that show for sure. Like they're definitely up to something.
This country has gotten to where that if you're a child and you're in public school, you're not safe at all. If I had little kids today, I would be homeschooling them. First off, they're not teaching them anything at school.
Yeah, no.
And that's not the teacher's fault. They're being told to teach for the tests. And the math, as they're teaching it now, is so convoluted that I majored in mathematics in junior college, and I can't figure out what they're talking about.
I hear a weird noise. Do you hear it? What is that?
I keep hearing.
I hear Edgar.
Sounds like somebody going crazy with Morse code, and they're just like laying on the finger. I don't know what it is.
Well,
I'm not hearing that.
That's kind of like what always happens when I'm recorded. There's another sound that when you slow it down, it sounds like bugs talking. Yeah, when I'm recorded, all kinds of weird things happen.
We had a porno go off during our show, like the sound effects, and no one knew where it came from, and no one had a clue where it came from. And it just like the noises from a dirty movie just went off there in the middle of the show. Had drums go off before too. I don't know. I hear it. It's weird, but it's no big deal. I wish this idiot with this female, someone give this guy a female spirit guy. I'm sure that would be great for the female spirit guy being with this nut, but
yeah, I mean, really,
my God,
be respectful, dude. I mean,
get a real doll, dude. Seriously, you don't need a real girl. You're cray cray. But I hear that noise. Hopefully, it's not something in the house. But we had a weird thing happen the other night where a possum got killed by a dog, and it made me sad. But it made us both, me and Christina, both sad. But it was getting in the dog food outside, so one of the dogs ran outside and whacked it. But anyway, after it passed away, I had to put it in the woods. We heard a tapping on the window, like 3, and it was creepy. Maybe it was the possum. I don't know what it was, but it was creepy.
Yeah, there's lots of things going on. There's a helicopter that goes over my apartment every night between 3 and 4 a.m.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah. So we have that to deal with, and we used to have a Pacific Bell truck set across the street. Pacific Bell bought AT&T in the 1990s and changed their name to AT&T. There has not been a Pacific Bell since. But this truck was sitting there, God, I guess about a year. We never saw it come or go. But one day my partner Lou goes over there. He's outside smoking, and he decides he's going to talk to these guys. He says, well, you know, if you're going to be here all the time, you could just build yourself a shed so you'd have a break room. About 30 minutes later, they left, and they've never been back.
So during all your situations with everything, has there been actual alien beings that you've dealt with at all, or any type of like paranormal beings?
Oh yeah, I don't even record them anymore. It's just.
What's some of the ones you've had to deal with? I mean, do they try to figure?
Anunnaki. They are the rudest, most nasty SOBs I have ever encountered.
What do they look like? Do they look like the statues we see and stuff, or different?
They look like the older statues. When you go back into the statuary, the younger statues have wings on them. They don't. They look like the older ones where they have the curly hair and
big dreadlocks. Yeah.
Yeah, they have the dreadlocks, but they don't have wings. And if they were born on Earth, they're 8 to 12 feet tall. If they were born on their home world, they're 12 to 15 feet tall. And so you're dealing with something that's at least twice as tall as you are.
Did you hear there was a recent and I've been looking around, I heard it it was yesterday or today, and they found in an archaeological site at Uruk in I guess southern Iraq, or is it Iran? It's in that area, Mesopotamia, the old Mesopotamia. They found a tomb with a 12-foot body inside a solid metal container that was giving off a 19 point something hertz radio signal, the same frequency as titanium. And allegedly there's a 12-foot being within.
I had not heard of that, but that's not particularly shocking because Mesopotamia was colonized by them.
Yeah, where they
it's
landed.
One of the areas, Mesopotamia, Tanzania, the Nile.
Our friend is back. Wonderful. This might, and this is what shocked me about it, Penny, is that they're claiming they think it's Gilgamesh's tomb.
Well, why wouldn't he have been real?
Oh no, I agree that he is, but they're suspecting this is King Gilgamesh's tomb that they have found, which I think is very, very awesome.
Yeah, I would think that would be awesome. He was a hybrid between humans and Anunnaki.
That's what their DNA said. Yes.
The Anunnaki that I encountered disliked me in particular. I don't think they dislike all humans, but they do dislike me. It's been an ongoing thing. They tried to kill me once. I have an altar. I'm not sure what that body looks like because I only see through its eyes. I don't see what it looks like. But the altar works at the court for the galactic government. It sits in one of those node points orbiting Saturn, those places that don't move. It sits in one of those. And it's a whole court system. There's 5 different ET judges, and they finally decided to try the Anunnaki for crimes against humans, or as they call it, violation of the prime and crimes against the sentient race. And they finally decided to do it. So my altar there is a bailiff. So yeah, I'm a court officer, but I'm not an important one. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Bailiff is supposed to protect the judge and the jury and all that kind of stuff.
I'm supposed to. I'm just like a police officer standing there. I'm not a lawyer or a judge or anything. I'm just.
Yeah, dude. Who wants to be a lawyer or judge? I want to be the guy standing there with a gun. That way, if something goes bad, I can shoot somebody.
I'm the guy standing there with a gun. So the Anunnaki were really mad about that for a while, and.
What can you do?
They were coming by and arguing at me and giving me a ration of crap, and I just basically told them, you guys knew what the laws were, you chose to violate them, it's on you. You did it to yourselves. We just finally figured out a way to convict you. And there have been almost 1,000 of them tried, convicted, executed. So yeah, they're pretty mad at me. But I've had them show up. They have a technology they call leaning in, and it looks like the old school photo booth, where you put your money in and you get a strip of pictures. It looks like that. But where the camera is, they're sitting there, they're looking into it, but it will show up as them in a hologram sitting next to me, and they're solid to the touch, and they speak telepathically, so I'm hearing them in English. I'm not. They're hearing me in whatever it is they speak. And it's been some really wild conversations because they are trying to manipulate me to change the outcomes in that court.
And it's funny you say that, particularly with the reptilian species.
These are reptilians. These are
they hear their language from us and we hear their language from them. But I really am curious when they weren't telepathic, what is their vocal? Because some of the reptilians still have vocal cords. I wonder what their spoken language does sound like. That would be very interesting to hear.
Draconian?
Yeah.
They speak. That's what they call their language. It's a lot like Klingon.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Trump asked Department of Justice to investigate Bill Clinton. I just saw that.
Really?
That's his response, I guess, to the Bubba Gump stuff.
You know, if he had wanted to deal with the Clintons, he should have dealt with them in his first administration. That's my belief. Letting it carry on all this time, and now because there's something embarrassing, that's just wrong.
I had heard that from some of the staff that worked for him that his requests would be so crazy that they would just tell him that they did it and they didn't do it. Like he would say, go do this or that. And then they'd be like, this dude's nuts. And they come back, oh, we did that. And he'd believe it. And that would be that.
Yeah. 16 minutes ago, at Trump's urging, Bondi says U.S. will investigate Epstein's ties to Bill Clinton and other political foes.
To me,
political foes. He's not going to investigate the Republicans. Now, I will tell you, and I'm going to be very careful how I word this. There was an incident in Omaha, Nebraska, decades ago. And that was with a Republican in the White House. Okay. So this was a long time ago. And there were so many kids that were taken to the White House, taken to Omaha, taken to places and turned over to Republicans. When they did the trial, guess who went to jail? The witnesses, the victims.
What? Wow.
They were accused of perjury. They went to prison. None of the perps went to jail. Not a single one. But it closed down Boys Town. It's only recently starting to ask for donations again. That was where the kids were being taken from. This is not a single party doing this crap. This is anybody in elected office above dog catcher.
That's not funny. The dog catcher reference just made me chuckle. But yeah, no, I agree with you totally. I've always thought that there's both sides were in on this thing.
If you're not blackmailable, you're not in office.
Well, yeah, and you know what you need to know to be a politician in Washington D.C. You need to know a specific dance called the Potomac two-step. If I don't have shit on you, pardon my French, and you don't have shit on me, we can't work together.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's the way government works. If you don't have crap on each other, you can't work together. You do this with me, or I'm going to put your stuff out in the news. Oh no,
they say Putin has videos and pictures of all kinds of stuff, even maybe the Trump Bill Clinton thing. But I think
KGB, dude. Of course he does.
I think it's interesting.
China does. Israel does. The United Kingdom does. France does. You can bet if they're what we would call G20 or anywhere near it, they're going to have a file on each and every politician they can, because that's how business is done at that level. Now, I'm not the only one that's saying this. I mean, look at the testimony of Ronald Bernard. He was in high finance. He came forward because they wanted him to sacrifice children.
Well, I mean, the fact that right now that rumor that we're talking about is spreading like crazy. Everybody's talking about it. There are memes everywhere on Facebook. Then suddenly he's like, well, we're going to investigate Bill Clinton. I think it's a mission of guilt to me.
Not only that, but what Penny just said about the children being sacrificed, that's been coming around a lot lately too. So, I mean, there's more than one sources saying that there's, whatever these Epstein files could be tied to could be,
Oh,
fairly heinous.
I've heard them tied to creation of clones. I've heard them tied to babies with no birth certificates. I've heard them tied to the sacrifices. I've heard them tied to adrenochrome. I've heard them tied to having videos of all of this stuff so that these people could all be blackmailed. And some of these people were addicted to it anyway.
Yeah.
They thought they were untouchable. And it's both parties and not just the United States.
Yes.
And people need to understand this is the way the elites operate. Yep. There are no people that you should be worshiping. Oh my God, they're rich, they're powerful, I'm going to do whatever they want. Bullshit.
They all suck. But hey, guys, I got to close out. We were supposed to close out at 55, but Penny, it's been great having you back. Do you have any links you want to give out or anything? Always a pleasure.
I gave you a bunch of stuff in Messenger that you can add to it, including the link to the full download site for all of the Epstein emails, everything that was released by the Congressional Oversight Office. And boy, howdy, is that a big thing. I don't recommend you downloading it on your phone. I had to get a external drive to have enough space for it. Figure
for your phone?
for the download.
Oh, wow.
It's huge. And it's split up into, I believe it was 14 sections.
All right, everybody.
And there's another one that I gave you that is on the Internet Archive, and it's Epstein's Black Book.
All right, I'll check them out. Well, we appreciate it, and thanks, Penny, and thanks everybody for listening. You need to listen to United Public Radio 107.7 FM New Orleans. Everybody have a good weekend. Check out Pluribus, Pluribus. Weird show. Have a good weekend, everybody. Good night.